Meanwhile, we're keeping an eye on big names in tech ahead of some pretty big earnings out this week. Microsoft, Tesla, Twitter, Amazon, and Alphabet. It's a mixed picture with only Tesla and Alphabet moving higher. But what we wanted to do here is bring in one of the top tech experts to find out, as many of these names have been beaten down, at what price must they hit before he says, pull the buy level. Wedbush Securities Managing Director of Equity Research, Dan Ives, is here to do that. And I need to just get you first on this market comeback. You're a longtime market watcher. What do you make of what we have seen with the major indexes in just the last hour and a half?
I think it's a bit jaw-dropping in terms of what we've seen in terms of this rebound. I mean, I think a lot of investors, it was a white-knuckle period. I think this was a huge inflection point that we saw the rebound. Now it's really about earnings. The rubber meets the road. Can these fundamentals this week move higher? I think that's where you could see really the stock market move significantly higher if we start to get the prints that we want, especially from tech players.
It's not like we got major data. I mean, we got something called the Richmond Federal Reserve, and people shouldn't have their eyes glazed over at the moment, but it matters because it's a manufacturing index that is regional. And what I saw wasn't good news. I mean, they in essence said that the prices paid component was higher. That means that maybe these steel tariffs are playing into the picture. So we didn't get any good data, and yet we're coming back. What's your top line here as to why?
And look, my top line right here is I think the bark's a little worse than the bite in terms of the China tariff and the worries. I think investors are starting to go through some of these earnings right now and think so far, I think the fears were a bit unfounded.
Okay, Microsoft is one of the names that is, they always say the FANGs plus Microsoft. Let's talk about Microsoft. And you say, and as we look at Microsoft at the moment, I can pull up the stock chart to see where it is trading. Microsoft right now is at $108.73. Too rich for you. At what price would you buy it?
Yeah, so we think this is going to $1 trillion market cap in the next 3 months. If this gets under $100, I think it's a table pounder in terms of where you own it here. In my view, Microsoft is a cloud play. They'll be reporting tomorrow. That's really one of those names that you want to be owning. And look, that's a secular name. So it's not just Microsoft. That would be a huge positive for these cloud names across the board.
So Microsoft, if it goes under $100, Dan says, get in there. How about Apple?
Look, Apple, in our opinion, we have a $310 price target. So I think over the next 12, 18, 24 months, the stock's going significantly higher.
But it's a 222 and change right now. How cheap would it have to get for you to say, buy this now?
Yeah, if this gets into the low twos, 205, 210, this is when I might be on the outside in the street yelling buy Apple. So I think that's where that really gets to one of these points where you need to own Apple. And look, it goes back to like, you have just a massive iPhone cycle. A software services we think is worth $450, $500 billion. So when you look at Apple, you get to that 205, 210. It's a table pounder. Microsoft under 100. But I would be buying these names into earnings in terms of my view. And I think when you have these types of pull-offs and these types of sell-offs, these are the opportunities.
Okay, and finally, your outlier, not a member of the FANGs, VMware.
Yeah, look, in our opinion, VMware, one of our top picks. I mean, that's a name. If that goes 5 to 10% lower, that might be one of our top picks across the enterprise software universe. That's a cloud play. So the one thing you have to remember, with the FANG names, you also want to be looking at the cloud plays. Obviously, Amazon plays into on AWS, Microsoft, and VMware front and center.
Okay, I'm sorry we couldn't get VMware up, but right now we're looking at a stock that has been a really nice performer, I would definitely say.